Good morning. Let's give another round of applause to the USC Thornton Percussion Ensemble. And thanks to Dean Cudietta for helping us out this morning. It's a nice surprise to enliven our morning just a bit, isn't it? Nothing like drums to get us off on a good start. Although it's a little hard to follow Joe Pine. But it's my honor today to introduce the USC Stories section. Today we're going to hear from 6 panelists, all of whom have stories to share. The hospitality experience, the student experience, the admissions and conversion experience, and lastly, the patient experience. My role today is really just to set up this panel of accomplished individuals who all have various constituents, very different. But all of us have the same mandate to deliver a first-class experience. Sorry, Joe, I mean transformation. So I wondered how I would do that today. What is the through line for me? So I'll speak from my own experience. You know, I grew up in the theater and eventually became a producer and a director and an event producer. So my ultimate point of view and point of reference is always the audience. What is the expectation of the audience and how do you deliver on that expectation? But it's not about just delivering on the expectation, it's actually surpassing that expectation. And for me, it's essentially a big formula. What does the audience want and expect? How do you want them to feel before, during, and at the end of the experience? And ultimately, what is the emotional takeaway? That's what we're all here for, I believe, the emotional takeaway, or as Joe calls it, the transformation. So the experience really starts long before the experience. It starts at the expectation. So I'm going to give you a little scenario that you've all experienced in one form or another, but please adapt it to your own area of expertise, whether it's housing, dining services, events, admissions, patient care, parents programs. So you and your friend hear that a famous production of Phantom of the Opera is coming to town, or whatever show you want. You call each other to see if you can get tickets because John Doe Superstar is appearing in this production. And this will be an expensive night for sure, but it'll be a once-in-a-lifetime event. And you get tickets, but not just any tickets. You score tickets in the 8th row center orchestra on opening night. And it's 2 months away, but that's okay, because that'll give you 2 months to talk about it together, to do some research on the show and the story, to talk about the cast, who else is in the show. The date grows near, and you think that it would be a great idea if maybe we had dinner beforehand. And why not splurge? You know, this is going to be a great evening that you're both going to remember. So the night arrives, and you decide to dress up to the nines. No jeans tonight, that's for sure. You go to dinner at Shea something or other, and then it's fantastic. And then you head down the street to a theater like the Pantages. And the theater is a very, very ornate palace. You give your tickets to the usher at the door. You even see a few celebrities standing around in the foyer. You decide to have a drink before the show starts so that you have just the right amount of giggly on before the curtain goes up. You look around, you look up those grand staircases, up in the ceiling, and boy, is it grand. Beyond what you ever thought a theater could look like, more like something out of an MGM movie. You go down the aisle to the best seats in the house, plush red velvet seats, and some people think they recognize you simply by where you're seated that night. The entire audience moves into the theater and sits in a very unnatural thing, regimented rows, all facing forward. You feel a collective excitement building, and the crowd is really quite boisterous. Then the lights slowly dim to half, and the audience goes almost quiet when all of a sudden a conductor comes up out of the pit and a spotlight hits her, and the audience starts applauding. And then the overture starts playing those wonderful tunes that you've heard, that you've known, and you've been waiting months to hear live. Then the house lights dim out except for that beautiful red curtain with the gold fringe. And there's not a sound in the entire audience as you focus on a large frame around the stage. And then slowly, ever so slowly, those red lights fade, getting everyone ready for the curtain to rise and the experience to begin. When in reality, They have been a part of that experience for over 2 months. So what is the point of all of this? We haven't even seen one moment of the play yet. That is the point. The expectation, the buildup, is as much a part of the experience as the experience itself. They are not separate. Success only happens when the actual experience meets or exceeds the actual expectation. Each of us, each of my colleagues, panelists on this stage, understands this concept. So whether you're a 10th grade student in a high school in the middle of the country, looking at colleges for the first time, or a patient thinking about where they are going to get the best respect and the best care for them or their family, or a prospective parent who visits the campus for another event long before their child is even considering college, the experience starts long before you ever meet them at the door. Let's listen to our colleagues tell their stories. Thank you.